thinking about you. So beautiful and lovely. I wish you could see it all the way I do. So pure and true. And I've seen you in the sun, shining warm upon your skin. Young feet wandering in the harbor there, and every summer since. Hi Ellen, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really well. Welcome to the Creative Experience. It's fantastic to see you. Where are you speaking from today?
I'm speaking from my home in the Netherlands, in Breda. My studio is actually in a different city, which is close by. But the building is pretty cool because it's situated in an old swimming pool. So they drained the pool and then they created little studio spaces all over the building. And mine is actually in the old men's dressing room.
So how long have you been there for?
Not too long actually. I think I moved in last December. So only a short while.
Now, I was introduced to you via social media, and your work is immediately different, exciting, and very original. How did you first get involved with glass?
Well, it's kind of maybe a little bit long story, but it was never my plan to get involved in stained glass. Yeah, it's such a specific thing. It's not really the first thing that comes to mind, I think, when you think about what you want to do when you grow up. I struggled a little bit with finding out what I wanted to be doing. So I always knew it was going to be something in the arts. But there's a lot of options. And in the end, I decided to do restoration decoration painting. I was really drawn to the idea of doing a craft, of learning a craft. So I did that, and then I think it was in the second or third year, we had to take a class of stained glass. It was mandatory, and I really loved it. It was kind of love at first sight. So I kind of discovered it by accident.
So you decided to abandon oil painting and go straight into glass full time. Are you still doing oil painting, or is it completely
No, I'm
glass
not
now?
doing it anymore. No. Well, I studied the painting, but like after the first year or something, I realized that I didn't really like doing it. But I thought, I might as well finish school because I've already started now. And then when I graduated, I went on to art school in Belgium, in Antwerp, to study stained glass.
And how long was that course? How long was the Belgium course?
It was 5 years, but I didn't finish it. It was only 2 nights a week, so it was kind of slow paced, which was fine in the end. But eventually, I wanted to learn more and I wanted to learn faster. So I started applying for jobs at stained glass studios. I did that because I felt like I would learn faster if I was, working on actual projects and dedicating more time to it. And I was lucky enough to get a job at a big stained glass studio in the Netherlands. So I'm still doing that as of today. And I kept on going with school for a while, but then in the end I was learning so much more at work, so I didn't really see the value of it anymore, so I quit.
So you're working with, is it GBB in Tilburg you're working with?
Yeah, yes.
So they do conservation work, historic glass. Do they also do new glass work as well?
They also do new, but it's mostly restoration, conservation. Yeah, I'd say it's like 90% conservation.
So it seems that you've got a real hunger to develop your own style, and you're impatient to learn and you want to learn quickly. And you've really developed a tremendous style in quite a short period of time. Looking at your Instagram feed, you were not really doing a lot of portraits, hand-painted portraits in glass until maybe 2020, something like that. And then it's really taken off. So tell me a little bit about what made you decide to do your own work independently in your own free time.
Well, when I first started with stained glass, I never would have thought that I was going to be doing glass painting because I just finished college for painting, and I had to do 4 years of painting, and not the way I wanted to do it. I had to do it because I had to, and had to do it in a certain way for the teachers, and there were so many rules attached to it, and that kind of took out the fun for me. So when I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm probably never gonna paint again. So when I started with stained glass, lots of people around me, they were saying things like, "Oh, you should get into glass painting. That would really be something for you." And I was like, "No, no, I don't think so." And eventually, during art school in Belgium, it was mandatory to do a project on painting. And I was really surprised because I didn't expect it to be so different from, regular painting. But it was really challenging. And I really liked that. So that kind of made me interested in it. And then when I started working at the studio in Tilburg, um, I was doing lots of replicas. I was kind of learning as I went. I took a course for advanced glass painting in the Netherlands. And that was, I think, 2 years ago. Ever since, I've been wanting to try out my own things, my own work. Mostly portraits.
Tell me a little bit about your artwork, because at the moment it seems to be very much about photorealism. You paint your partner or your boyfriend Nick and other friends and colleagues. Is that the direction of travel that you see yourself going at the moment? Because these portraits are very realistic. They kind of look as if they've come straight out of a Vogue magazine. They have a very particular style, and then you put the glass grisaille background on them. So it's a lovely combination of medieval language with very contemporary language brought together in a very interesting way. How did you develop that idea?
Well, I think I got inspired doing the conservation work at the studio because I would get to work on lots of beautiful windows, and they were so beautifully painted. There were fantastic portraits, but they were like, of course, they were always like in a very religious sense. Um, and I thought, because I have a history of paint of drawing realistic portraits when I was younger. I did that a lot, and I thought, maybe it would be kind of cool to combine those two. And also, it wasn't anything I'd ever seen before, so I just really wanted to try it out. And I don't really have a plan for any of my work that I'm making. I just kind of roll with it once I get started, and then I'll just see where it ends.
So you submitted some work to an exhibition, a competition last year, and tell us a little bit about how that went.
I wasn't planning on applying, but some of my family, they kind of persuaded me, and they were like, "Oh, you should enter." So I did that, but I didn't really expect anything to come out of it because most people enter like very traditional work, oil paintings and drawings or sculptures, and I was the only one with stained glass. So I didn't think anything was going to come out of it, but in the end it did. I got selected, and then I made it to the second round, and eventually I won the prize for young talent. So I was super happy.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. It's fantastic for you, but it's also fantastic that stained glass is still seen as contemporary and relevant for the 21st century. You've also got an exhibition, Art Passionnel, which you're involved with for later on this year.
Yeah, it's actually this month, end of this month. Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to it, but I feel like I don't have a lot of work to show yet because I only have 4 works that are actually finished, so I don't have a lot to showcase yet.
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, to have just started really with your own journey in glass, you've made some tremendous strides forward already, and you've come to the attention of a lot of people. And I mean, I think it's so exciting to have the next generation getting involved with glass and making it their own. And you're making stained glass completely your own. You've got a contemporary style. It's much more in keeping with the TikTok generation, the Instagram generation. That's where the audience is. And if you can bring stained glass to that audience in an exciting and interesting way. I think it's absolutely fabulous. Do you aspire to doing commissioned work for buildings, or do you see yourself going down the gallery route where you're creating autonomous panels that can be put into exhibitions? Is that the direction that you see yourself moving forward?
I think that would speak to me most. Yeah, yeah. I've never done any work for a building, so I don't really know what that would be like. But I think it would be awesome as well. But so far, I would really love to be able to exhibit my work. Exhibit, showcase. I don't know which one, but and yeah, I would. That would be a dream. I think to do that.
And tell me a little bit about your classes, because recently you've started offering classes for glass painting, etc. Tell me a little bit about that and how that's going.
The first one I think is in April, like midway April. I started offering those because I've been getting lots of messages from people wanting to learn how to paint, and especially beginners, people who have no prior experience in stained glass. They reached out to me and they were asking me if I was going to do any classes, and eventually so many people started asking me those questions that I thought maybe I should. And I think it's a good thing to teach people this because it's not really like, if you want to get into stained glass, it's not easy because there aren't a lot of resources. And I know when I wanted to study stained glass, I had to go to Belgium to study. So
Are there any courses available in the Netherlands to study traditional glass painting?
there are, but I think those are only like 1 or 2 day courses. So you never really get outside of the basics. First, I learned the basics at the art school in Belgium, and then I went on to work for the studio. And I really learned a lot over there.
Well, your work is fabulous. Genuinely, it is fantastic. It's a really high quality. The ability to get flesh tones is outstanding. Do you use enamels as well as traditional glass paints?
I use only one enamel actually, and that's the I don't know the number, but the antique red. I think it's from Roche, but I'm not sure. And then for grisaille, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's usually a mixture of browns and then some flesh Rachel. I think some blonde flesh as well, but I just kind of mix as I go, so it's not really a standard formula.
And do you use mostly water as your medium to mix your paints, or do you use other mediums as well?
I use water, but I combine it with lavender oil to be able to put more layers in one, firing.
Which do you put down first? Is it lavender first of all, then water, or how does it work?
No, I put down the water and the gum arabic first. I usually do 2 layers of those. So first a matte layer and then contour or tracing lines. And then I take the lavender oil and I just put it all over to kind of create a barrier between the paints, and then I can add some shadows before it goes into the kiln.
That's a really interesting technique, and I've spoken to other glass artists who use techniques like that. Kathy Jordan over in America was doing a glass course, and she showed me some of her techniques, which include painting shading layer first of all before painting the trace lines, which is not the way I do it, but I really want to experiment with doing it your way more because I think it gives you greater options. But you do quite a few layers before you fire it all together in the kiln.
Yeah, I think 3 layers usually. Yeah. Well, the first firing is 3 layers, and then the ones that come after that, it's 2 layers. But in the end, I don't think you have to use lavender oil to get the same result. But if you don't use the oil, you just have to build up a lot more layers and get in a lot more firings.
Ellen, I thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today talking about your work. I think it's fabulous, and I can't wait to see the work that you produce next. And good luck with all of your endeavors, and good luck with the show that's coming up later on this year. I'm going to put details of how people can connect with you at the bottom of this interview. And I'll leave your social media account details as well so people can connect with you. Thank you again so much for spending time with me today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I think your work is fantastic, and I really love what you're doing with your YouTube channel. So I'm really glad to be, a part of it now.